Honorable CS, let me take this opportunity to welcome you back to the Senate. You are to respond to question number 32 by the Senator for Bungoma County. There was also a question number 089 that was supposed to be asked by the Senator for West Pokot, but this one you're not going to respond to today because of the unavailability of the senator who is supposed to raise this question. And therefore, Honorable CS, you will be expected to respond to just one question. That is question number 032 by the Honorable Senator for Bungoma. Senator Ofula, you may now proceed to raise your question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll proceed to ask my questions. Question number 1, what initiatives has the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife implemented to develop and promote tourism in Bungoma County? B, how many employees has the ministry deployed to the county to support tourism development initiatives? And could the Cabinet Secretary also explain steps taken to address any shortfall? C, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status update on all programs in Bungoma County budgeted by the ministry in the financial years 2022-2023 and 2023-2024, and outline any other programs earmarked for funding in the short and midterm? D, what strategies and incentives has the ministry deployed to attract local and foreign investment in the tourism sector in Bungoma County? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and members, for inviting me this morning to respond to the 4 questions under question number 32. And indeed, Bungoma, that is located in Western Kenya, is an emerging tourist destination with a unique blend of natural beauty, cultural heritage, and historical significance. So the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife has undertaken several initiatives to develop and promote tourism in Bungoma County by implementing the following. Number 1, the ministry has undertaken registration and licensing of all regulated tourism enterprises and conducting regular quality audits within the county through the Tourism Regulatory Authority. And this has ensured quality service provision and customer satisfaction, ultimately making Bungoma a good tourist destination. Under this program, 72 regulated tourism enterprises have been audited and advised on the areas that require improvement. The other initiative is that stakeholders in the county have been sensitized on the various standards to ensure tourism establishments offer quality services. And during these forums, awareness on duty-free importation of items was created as prescribed under the EAC Customer Management Act and the Finance Act 2017. Number 3, we've had coordinated and assisted stakeholders, especially hotels, to form an association, and we now have Bungoma Hotel Owners Association for purposes of self-regulation. And then the ministry, through Kenya Tourism Board, conducted a one-day training workshop with county tourism officials in Kakamega County on 18th September 2023, and this covered Bungoma, Kakamega, Vihiga, Siaya, Kisumu, and Homa Bay counties. The sessions were designed to empower county governments and private sector stakeholders with the insights and tools necessary to unearth export-ready gems and craft innovation tourism packages. The specific objectives of the trainings were to identify new products, experiences, facilities coming up in the counties, and evaluate the top iconic experiences identified by the counties. The training was also to establish the key sector players in the county responsible for delivering the adventure, the sports, and cultural experiences, such as the Eshikuti and Amabeka dances. And then it was to scout for potential signature experiences in those counties and to evaluate the status of existing products, tourism infrastructure in the county. In our ongoing efforts to promote the diverse and tourism products across counties, there has been active and continuous collaboration with county governments to enhance digital footprint of local attractions and events. The production of joint marketing materials with county governments include informative brochures and even videos. The creation of high-quality, visually appealing promotional content that captures the essence of Kenya's tourism landscape, and especially in the counties, has also been prioritized in this financial year. The content generated will be used to market the destinations on online and offline platforms. Areas to be covered in Bungoma County include Buteto Miti Park, Bukusu Cultural Center, Mount Elgon and Kitum Cave, hills and waterfalls spread across the county, including Nabuyole. The ministry, through Kenyatta International Conference Center, meeting, incentive conferences and exhibition, known as MICE, Mashinani Awareness Program, has targeted the Lake Region Economic Bloc, in which Bungoma County is a member. Activities being carried out include stakeholder workshops, a session held to demystify what MICE is and creating awareness on the same. We also have incentive travel, exploring the county's potential to identify incentive travel opportunities that the corporations can leverage on and drive business to the counties. We also have MICE mapping. We have identified counties' MICE potential, including associations that various stakeholders in the county are affiliated to and collaborate to jointly bid and host events. That is the response to part A of the question. And Honorable Speaker, I will then proceed with part B. The Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife has deployed 41 officers spread across various cadres, 30 in the Tourism Fund and the Tourism Regulatory Authority in Kisumu, and this covers the Western Region offices where Bungoma County belongs. In addition, we have undertaken the following steps to address the shortfalls in the tourism development initiatives: supporting product mapping, adoption of multi-sectoral approach in tourism development and management at the county level, maintaining a unified county events calendar, supporting counties in digital marketing, then destination development and management, through tourism signage across the counties. We also have data collection in support of planning and strategy development, developing county tourism brands, capacity building and training for county tourism staff, and rating of tourism facilities and experiences. Honorable Speaker, under Part C, the government budget allocation to the ministry and its agencies is well utilized in the development, promotion, and marketing of tourism in the entire country, and therefore, it may not be possible to isolate the specific amount on the Bungoma County alone because of the arrangement of regions and areas. Also, the various tourist circuits are interdependent and connected to one another in terms of visitors' travel experiences and visitation. For example, Tourism Regulatory Authority has allocated the following funding for the regulatory work in Western Region, which covers Bungoma County in the specified financial year, and in the submission, the details are there for 2022-2023, and also for the year 2023-2024, and most of the work was towards quality assurance and sensitization activities. Similarly, for KICC, on the table shown, we have shown the amounts allocated to the Lake Region block, which includes Bungoma County, for the 2 financial years. Other programs earmarked for funding in the short and medium term in Bungoma County include refurbishment of Koitobos guest house at Mount Elgon at a cost of 2.6 million Kenya shillings. We also have a road rehabilitation and maintenance of Endebess, Mount Elgon Main Gate, Koimoton Road at the cost of 27 million shillings. And finally, under D, the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife has deployed several incentives and strategies to attract local and foreign investment in the tourism sector in the counties, including the county of Bungoma, in collaboration with the relevant agencies. As follows: we have duty exemption to hoteliers and restaurants on imported item under the EAC Customs Management Act, and we have given all the details of the items that are duty exempt. There is also duty exemption for tour vans, for tourism transportation for tour operators, such as sightseeing buses, overload trucks, among others. The ministry also offers tourism business investment advisory services to local investors on where to invest in resorts, eco-lodges, and other establishments in the country, including in the protected areas. We also have concessionary loans at lower interest rates with longer repayment period of between 10 to 20 years offered by Kenya Development Corporation for development or renovation of hotels, lodges, restaurants, and related tourist facilities. We also have duty exemption on tourism boats imported by licensed tour operators and ferry boat parts and accessories. We also have duty exemption for refrigerated trucks and refrigerated trailers. And finally, we have duty exemption on water treatment, effluent plants that may be used by hoteliers in recycling their used waters. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I submit the responses. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Senator Wakoli David, you have 2 supplementary questions. Don't know whether you want to execute them right away or you would like to handle it, but you have 2 supplementary questions.
Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate the Minister for the brief responses she has put out for us. But as you all understand, Honorable Speaker, that tourism is a venture that has been predominantly benefiting other regions in this country, like the Mara, like Naivasha, like Nakuru. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, zones like Western Circuit of Kakamega, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia have not benefited immensely from these funds that she has ably executed. And that is why my questions were very specific in terms of the staff, the number of staff deployed to Bungoma as a county, the amount of resources specifically channeled to Bungoma County. And by extension, I've seen you've mentioned about meetings that have been carried out of stakeholders in Bungoma. My desire is that moving forward, Honorable Waziri, is that more energy is put in counties because things are now devolved. Counties have specific historical sites like Bungoma. We have Mabanga, we have Chetambe, we have Lumboka. These are places that is important for them to be captured. We have the famous traditional circumcision only done in Western and in this country, where we have seen people go to Uganda.
What is your supplementary question?
I'm coming to the supplementary question, Honorable Speaker. I only beg that you have a little bit patience. So I'm asking, in specifics, Honorable Waziri, how many meetings have been done in Bungoma precisely, apart from the budget that I've seen on the main gate? The main gate is in Trans Nzoia. The other part of Bungoma is in the dark. How much resources? You might not answer now, but in due course we can have specific answers for Bungoma and strategic plans that you have for Bungoma so that we can partner with Bungoma and ensure that we tap in this untapped potential. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Waziri.
Okay, Madam CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have noted the points that have been raised by the Honorable Member, and we will put the data together. But just one addition, that this week, where we are celebrating the World UN Tourism Week, we are launching the Western Circuit, which we will do on Friday. And additionally, the ministry established a program called Utalii Mashinani. So far, 11 counties have been visited, including Bungoma, and the discussion with the county government came up with a whole list of what activities need to be done, issues to be addressed, and the timelines therein. And ours will be to follow up on that and ensure that execution has been done. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Do you have another supplementary? Or you wait for your colleagues to... So I was asking you whether you want to ask the second one or you wait for your colleagues to ask a few, then maybe you can come back later.
I can allow my colleagues to proceed and ask questions, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Agnes Kavidu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My first question is, and I'll first of all start by congratulating the CS for the appointment of the new position that she is in now, and welcome to the Senate. Mr. Speaker, my question is Machakos County one of the counties that you are visiting to roll out that that you are rolling out on, other counties? And my other question is,
You have only one supplementary question. You prioritize the best one that you want to ask.
Mr. Speaker, my priority was another one, not this one. Kindly, allow me, kindly.
Then she will answer to that one. Okay, proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. My other question is about the wildlife conflicts with the human. I have issues with Masinga Dam, and the outgoing CS, we met with him, and I was requesting if they can fence Masinga Dam to avoid my people being killed by hippos and crocodiles, and also Oldonyo Sabuk Game Reserve. And he had promised that they were looking for funds to be able to fence Masinga Dam and Oldonyo Sabuk Game Reserve. I have Mr. Dennis, a young person, Dennis Musyoka Kalultu, who lost his leg due to hippo. And this is a young boy who goes to school, and his compensation was due early this year. And to date, he has not been compensated, and he has issues going to school. Madam CS, what can you do about this and all other compensations that are due for Machakos County? Thank you.
Let me get a few other questions, then she can answer together. Senator Catherine.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity. And first to welcome CS Rebecca Miano to the Senate. CS Rebecca Miano was my classmate, and I do not say, but just to welcome her and to congratulate her in her new docket. Honorable CS, Article 6 of the Constitution contemplates that national government will, under the devolved governance system, decentralize its services. My question is whether there is an intergovernmental sectoral committee on tourism with the Council of Governors, and what mechanisms you have put in place to ensure regions like Western Kenya that have been marginalized on tourism, even though they have the largest freshwater lake, the only tropical forest with very rare fauna and flora. What mechanism do we have in place to ensure equitable deployment of the development funds to your ministry to actually grow tourism in the Western Kenya circuit? And I ask this noting that from 2013, we have always been told something is being done in Western Kenya, but Western Kenya is exactly where it was from 2013 as it is today. We would want to know, when are we moving from tokenist investment in tourism in the Western Kenya circuit to actual investment in this sector? Thank you.
Honorable Senators, the opportunity I give you is not to take 5 minutes explaining so many things, Senator Catherine, but just to ask you a specific supplementary question. Next is Senator Medhu John.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I also welcome the CS to the Senate. needless to mention, Honorable Speaker, that the CS is a voter of the county that I represent in this particular Senate. And my supplementary.
You don't have the mic.
I have the mic, Honorable Speaker. On the strategies and incentives that the ministry has deployed to attract local and foreign investment in the tourism sector in Bungoma, my supplementary question that is related to this is an ecosystem in that county that I represent here, the Rekorobosat ecosystem, Honorable Speaker, because it is the only lake in the former central province of the Republic of Kenya, and I would want to know what the ministry is doing to incentivize this particular resource that we have, a home of the largest family of hippos with over 300 species of birds, what we are doing so that we can be able to, one, market that natural resource, and number two, to make it even attractive, to make it known across the globe that this is a place that you can be able to visit, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS, answer those first.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll start with the question for the Honorable Member from Machakos County. I confirm that Machakos County was one of the counties that was visited in the month of March under the program of Utalii Mashinani, and we have an action plan agreed between our ministry and the county government of Machakos, and we look forward to implementing that action plan in order to promote Machakos County tourism. In terms of the questions on human-wildlife conflict, for Oldonyo Sabuk fencing, funds are available. They were sourced successfully, and there is a tendering process in place. The Masinga ecosystem is managed under the Ministry of Energy and not under the State Department for Wildlife. Yeah, the Masinga Dam, yes, under the Ministry of Energy. Honorable Speaker, the question by Honorable Catherine Muma, I wish to confirm that we have, yes, we have an intergovernmental sectoral committee under the ministry and COG, and the governor for Narok is the current chair. We participate actively, attend regular meetings, and a number of MOUs have been put in place, including with KWS for management of game reserves, and with counties, with some of the counties in regard to tourism. Honorable Speaker, the tourism week that is ongoing, the culmination will be in Kisumu County on Friday, and we are launching and unveiling the Western Circuit, covering all the Western counties, and I believe a lot of activity is going on and will continue focusing on other areas apart from the traditional areas, because to grow our tourism, we need to diversify the products and the areas that the country has so that we can have sustainable tourism. The final question on Lake Olbolsat, the process is ongoing of gazetting it as a national reserve under the county government, and KWS is assisting in development of a management plan to ensure good management and also promote tourism. We are working together with other sectoral players and stakeholders, including Ministry of Environment, NEMA, other stakeholders, to ensure the sustainability of that precious lake, which will also go a long way towards promoting tourism and other socio-economic activities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's get another round. Who gave you the permission to rise and ask the question? Senator Kavindu, can you have your seat first? You don't know how to catch the eye of the speaker? Senator Kavindu, what is it? Now I can see you have
I need an
your own
answer.
intervention. What has not been answered?
About Dennis Musyoka, the young boy who was, whose leg was cut by a hippo, and the compensation was due early this year, and the boy is struggling going to school on one leg without, yes. He's really suffering. The mother calls me every day to ask for money so that she can buy a leg for the son, and the son can also go to school comfortably. So
Okay.
can Madam CS answer that?
No. Have your seat now, Senator Kavindu. Honorable CS, if you don't have the answer, you just say so, and then maybe you might provide it later when you have the details.
Yes, on the question of compensation, Honorable Speaker, there is a process that is ongoing to unlock the backlog that exists from 2013, and I know a bit of it has been covered to 2019, but I would like to get specific details and respond more comprehensively and more accurately. Thank you.
Advise you visit the CS in office, then she can be able to give you an updated version of your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll make a point of visiting her to her office. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Senator Mwinyi Mohammed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I also want to join my colleagues in congratulating the Honorable CS for her appointment to the cabinet in the tourism docket. Madam CS, I wanted to confirm from you whether when is the ministry likely to return the Mamangina waterfront to the county government of Mombasa? This property belonged to Mombasa. The government came in and improved it, but after the improvement, they took away the title deed. So we need our title deed back for the Mombasa Mamangina waterfront. Thank you.
Next is Senator Gataya Mwenda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is a follow-up question to so many other questions that I've been able to raise before this House. To Madam CS Tourism, there is this Ura Cultural Festival. It's an international event observed every year in the month of August. Honorable CS, this function attracts catchers from diverse places, and it is an international event which is observed by all the catchers around Mount Kenya and beyond. But this facility, Madam CS, it's a makeshift. There are no facilities, there are no toilets, it's just very dusty. And I remember there was a promise which was made by His Excellency the President, I think 2019-2020 financial year, that this facility was supposed to enjoy 10 million to give it a facelift. I don't know, because I raised this matter before the former CS, who is Honorable Mutua, when he came before this House. I don't know whether it is in your view, Madam CS, that this money is seriously needed downstream so that this facility can get its facelift, that we can have these people enjoying in a better place, because it's an international event which is quite observed, and the people would be relatively very happy to have this facility given a facility. What is your ministry doing to make sure that this facility, where you were supposed even to be the guest of honor in our last engagement in the last few weeks ago, what is your ministry doing to make sure that this facility gets its 10 million to give it a facelift? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Andy Okech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my regards to Waziri, and congratulations for your appointment. Mine is a question around maritime tourism. Madam Waziri, would you share with us the case for investment in your ministry and any specific plans, if any, with regards to revitalizing our maritime tourism? And specifically, if you look at the coastal stretch between Mombasa, Malindi, Lamu, all the way to Kismayu, are there efforts by the ministry to rethink the maritime activities such as what is happening in Dar es Salaam, mainland, and connecting to Zanzibar island? Is there a replica investment when you think about maritime tourism in those areas, and stretching that to places like what the senator for, why am I forgetting her name? Senator Catherine Muma asked a question around the case for investment on the tourism in the western part. Could you connect that maritime tourism to a case for the Lake Victoria region? If you think about highlands of Migingo connecting to Migori, the opportunity for scuba diving there, neutral nautical sports, sailing, cruising, yachting, boating, and even the islands of Takawiri, Mfangano, coming all the way to mainland Homa Bay. Is there a case and a plan by the ministry to invest in that maritime tourism? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In regard to Mamangina waterfront, I am aware that there are discussions going on. I do not have the specific response. I'm still acclimatizing and getting more details so that I can respond conclusively. And therefore, I've taken note of the question and the concerns for a more detailed response later. Honorable Speaker, in regard to the Ura Gate Cultural Festival and the facilities there, the executive order designated this under the Ministry of Culture and Heritage. And I think the renovations and upgrading of the facilities are under the Ministry of Culture. But under the Ministry of Tourism, we do recognize this as a critical festival in promotion of tourism. So the actual details would accurately be available under the Ministry of Culture. The last question on maritime tourism, I confirm strongly that maritime tourism is the way to go, and especially in diversifying the products that we have, not only at the coast, but also in the western region. A lot of work has been done and is being done. I am aware there is a festival, East Africa Ocean Festival in Mombasa from 18th to 20th of October this year. And our ministry is embracing maritime tourism as one of the niche markets that will be attractive not only for the country, but for the regions that are well endowed with the maritime facilities. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let's have another round. Senator Kisan.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to congratulate the CS. We know her as a performer from KenGen and the ministry she's been having, and I'm happy that she's in tourism. My question, Honorable Speaker, is I don't know what plans does the CS have, especially for compensation. In my county, Elgeyo-Marakwet County, we have lost many animals through bandits and people, and we are losing crops every day through elephants that are in Rimoy National Game Reserve, and compensations have not been paid since 2013, and the farmers are struggling. Mangoes have been uprooted by elephants. Honorable Speaker, in addition, I don't know, maybe the best thing to do for if the CS has maybe a plan, because she has a plan, because I know we were in National Assembly with you for 10 years, and every year, the moment KWS puts in money in the budget for compensation, they get slashed. I don't know if maybe they need to come up to think out of the box and see if they can generate maybe a certain percentage of what tourism fund collects and KWS, and set up a fund for compensation so that they have A in A that they generate instead of relying on exchequer from the National Treasury, Honorable Speaker. But I'll come up later on with a substantive question, maybe next week, Honorable Speaker, on proper issues in mapping Elgeyo-Marakwet tourism sites, so that she can give us resources to mobilize, and also in conjunction with the county government of Elgeyo-Marakwet County to identify those sites and promote them. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Veronica Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable CS, welcome once again to Senate. And I don't know, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, whether you are aware that cruise tourism holds a potential, a big potential for our nation, and that the maritime resources we have in Kenya are like the 48th county, which is a sea of opportunities for the young people, a sea of opportunities for the many job seekers that we have in our nation. What is your ministry doing to ensure that we can utilize this potential and we can have tourists now connected from South Africa sailing to Kenya and being able to sail to other destinations in the world without having to take a flight, but being able to enjoy the resources that are in sea, especially what we have under the waters, the sea world? What is your ministry doing? Does it take those resources as part of the resources that are available to promote our economy? And number two, we have the hyenas which have been mauling people.
Don't ask two questions, Senator Veronica Maina. Don't ask two questions. Actually, the first one is good enough. Senator Karungo Dangwa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, and also join the other senators to congratulate the CS in her new docket. We have a lot of faith in her. She's going to execute her mandate diligently. Mr. Speaker, my people in Juja are in pain. They're mourning because of the human-wildlife conflict, or what we are referring to as the hyena menace. Hyenas have killed about 22 people in Juja, Mr. Speaker. Our children, they go to school at 9 a.m. because they cannot go at 6 a.m. because they will be killed by the hyenas. My question is, Mr. Speaker, what specific measures are being implemented to ensure the safety of my people, the people of Juja, the residents of Juja, following these attacks by the hyenas? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Answer those the three, then we do the last round. And I'm serious.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will start with a question on compensation for human-wildlife conflict. Together with the National Treasury, payments have been made for the last 2 years. We are now in the process of operationalizing the county wildlife compensation committees that had not been finalized, so that the process can be mainstreamed and streamlined. We are also digitizing the process for accuracy and efficiency. There are proposals to introduce insurance products moving forward, and the ministry is working with other stakeholders and partners to see how we can have diversified resource mobilization that can be used for human-wildlife conflict compensation, and also activities to promote human-wildlife coexistence and addressing the reasons and ways of stopping the conflicts. Honorable Speaker, in regard to cruise tourism, Mombasa and Lamu Port have been marketed as cruise tourism points, and many cruises are docking, and we have diversified water sports and other activities. We have scheduled meetings at the coast in the next couple of months so that we can work with stakeholders to come up with specific activities, opportunities that are available for implementation. In regard to the hyena menace in Juja, we do acknowledge that it has been an issue of a devastation or an issue that has affected lives. And when this happened, KWS deployed rangers to respond, and we ensured that they are stationed there 24 hours each day. We are also having education and awareness programs, a lot of work in translocating those animals. We are also having consolation fees that is being paid. We are working with NEMA to deal with the quarries that were not restored, and those have become the hideouts for the hyenas. Honorable Speaker, I want to confirm that together with the leaders and the people of Juja, quite a lot of activities have been undertaken, and in the last couple of weeks, the situation has been contained, but we are still camping there to ensure that the matter is conclusively resolved. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable CS. The next round of questions, I'll ask Senator Abdurrahman Abdullahi Miraj.
Asante Bispika kwa kuweza kunipa fursa hii, na mimi niungane na maseneta wenzangu katika kumpongeza waziri wetu kwa teuzi yake kwa mara ya pili. Huu ni uthibitisho wa kwamba ni mkakamavu katika kazi zake. Swali langu Bi Waziri kupitia kwa spika ni kwamba tunapojitayarisha kuadhimisha siku ya utalii ulimwenguni, ambayo dhima yake ni kwamba utalii na amani, ningependa kuuliza ni mikakati gani ambayo wewe kama waziri tangu ingie katika hii ofisi yako mpya umeweza kuona kwamba anga ya Moi International Airport, ya kiwanja cha Moi, imeweza kufunguliwa kwa ndege za kimataifa za kiutalii kuweza kutua. Nilisimama hapa mwaka jana na nikaweza kuliuliza swali hili kwa waziri wa uchukuzi, lakini kukawa na minomino mingi na mivutano mingi. Ningependa kujua labda ni hatua gani umeweza kuzichukua wewe kama waziri kuona kwamba hizi ndege za kitaifa za kitalii zinaweza kushuka katika uwanja wetu wa Moi pale Mombasa, nikisisitiza ya kwamba utalii ni uti wa mgongo wa gatuzi 6 za pwani, na tunapokuwa hatuwezi kupata watalii kuweza kufika katika maeneo yetu, ni kuashiria kwamba sisi kama wapwani tutaendelea kudidimia katika uchochole, na watoto wetu watakuwa hawawezi kupata nafasi za kazi ambazo tayari nyuma zilikuwa kabla ya janga la corona. Ningependa tu waziri uweze kutueleza kinaga ubaga, sisi kama wawakilishi wa kutoka zile pande za pwani tuweze kujua ni vipi tutadhibiti umaskini, tukiangazia kwamba utalii ni uchumi wa kipekee yake ambao pia unaweza kuongeza mapato ya taifa letu la Kenya. Asante Bi Waziri.
Thank you. Senator Abbas Sheikh Mohammed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to also join my colleagues to congratulate Madam Miano, then I think for the election and the appointment. Mine is actually a concern on the human and wildlife conflict. Madam CS, as you are aware, the conflict of wildlife and human is actually got rampant now. And this is as a result of, the grasslands have been shrinking. That we are creating more conservancies in the rangelands where the communities are supposed to graze their animals. And therefore, I'm asking your ministry what plan is there, because there's competition for resources, limited resources. And every year, I think many conservancies are coming up. And we need to curtail those kind of conservancies to at least allow the livestock to have a place for grazing. So what plan do you have to curtail the conservancies, the many conservancies that have been created of late? And the other one is the times of drought. Wildlife actually suffers most, especially in our areas, the rangelands. There is no plan for water. These animals are dying in large number, the wildlife are dying in large number. What is the plan in place for drought mitigations for the wildlife in those areas? Whether you have any drought mitigation or interventions during the drought times, so that the wildlife can be able to coexist with the livestock.
Thank you. Senator Kathuri Murungi, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I like to ask a supplementary question. Just last week, we lost a gentleman from Egembe North, Antobato Ekiongo Ward, Mr. Kimani, who was killed by an elephant. And the same elephant, it slammed down several houses, destroying crops. I think the CS is aware of this, or the Director General of the Kenya Wildlife Service. As my colleagues has put it, Madam Speaker, human wildlife conflict is a serious problem in Kenya. Even when I served in the National Assembly, there were, as you heard the CS mention, the backlog is maybe up to 2013, and we are now in 2024. So the ministry must come up with a strategy on how to pay the compensations for those people who have been killed, who have lost their property. And the reason why this problem is, especially in Meru, is because the national park needs a lot of facilities. The animals there need water. There are no water plants which have been programmed. So I wanted to know, especially from the CS, when water will be available for the animals in the Meru National Park, and also accessibility, because the loans to access the national park are dilapidated. So my specific question was about the compensation, but also to know the plans that the ministry has to give animals water in the Meru National Park and to open up the loans therein. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable CS, you can respond to those 3 questions, and then you take the next round of questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The first question on tourism and security, which is the theme for this year's World Tourism Day. Towards that, we have discussed with the Ministry of Interior, and tomorrow we will be signing an MOU with activities and programs that we shall use to promote tourism security, including Mombasa. In regard to the airlines that are landing in Mombasa, the honorable member asked me for what I have done specifically since I was appointed. Honorable Speaker, I have been in the job for 5 weeks. This is the 5th week. But I want to confirm that we've had a conversation with the Cabinet Secretary for Transport with a view to discussing more airline access, and especially those that were operating even pre-COVID, that had already been licensed, and how they can make a return. I wish to confirm that Fly Dubai operates direct flights to Moi International Airport, and also KQ operates 7 times per week between Dubai and Mombasa. And Mombasa being a critical tourist destination, we feel we need a lot more access than we have, and we'll continue having the discussions even in the days to come. I believe that tourism is almost a low-hanging fruit in creating jobs, especially for the youth, and promoting economic opportunities, even in the region. If you look at just what Mombasa is well endowed in, including the beaches, including marine tourism, rich culture, the history, the weather, I think Mombasa can have more tourism and more justice to the tourism sector. And I want to assure the honorable member that we'll do our best, we'll spare no effort in promoting the coast as one of the prestigious tourism destination. It already is, but a lot more can be done. The question on human-wildlife conflict, it is true that human-wildlife conflict is a big challenge and is a vexation. It affects lives. It also affects the animal. There is competition for resources. But we are now working with communities to set up conservancies in a bid to have a win-win situation to allow multiple land use through management plans, so that we can have the coexistence of wildlife, livestock, tourism, and other economic activities. We are also working on environmental restoration programs, but noting that conservancies are voluntary, we are disseminating information for the promotion of either private or community conservancies. On the attacks under the Meru Park, the ministry through KWS has programmed construction of water pans, and our ministry is identifying resources to provide even more water, because we know that lack of water is one of the biggest sources of human-wildlife conflict. And we are also consulting with the Ministry of Water and other stakeholders so that we can improve the water provision. We are also working with the Ministry for Roads to improve the access roads in the parks in order to increase tourism visitation in the park. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Boni Halole.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam CS, Vision 2030. Vision 2030 is very clear on the enablers and macros of its success. And the Western Tourist Circuit is key. I'm surprised that you have told us, responding to the question by Senator Catherine Muma about committees that you're forming with governors and so on. Why don't you save us that money and go and read about what is documented on Western Tourist Circuit in Vision 2030? That money you're wasting, tell us today when you're going to shift the thinking of your ministry, which locally and abroad is focused on the white beaches in Mombasa and the Big Five. For us to be persuaded as people who are promoting Vision 2030 that you want to grow, you have to tell us today, Minister, when you're going to open up direct international flights into Kisumu, how much money this year is lost in the next financial year you're going to put into upgrading the Golf Hotel in Kakamega, the Sunset Hotel in Kisumu, and similar hotels in Homa Bay, in Kisii, in Nyamira, and Bungoma. Instead of what Cabinet has told us, that you want to sell these assets. This is what we want to hear and go and tell our people on the ground for them to appreciate that we want to exploit the product of tourism in the Western Circuit. I am ready and willing, in the company of Catherine Muma, to host you. You've talked about Amaveka, and you've talked about Isukuti. You're just scratching the surface, Minister. If I was to host you, you'd be amazed at the potential in Western. I would take you from Kitnikai, take you to the beautiful, only existing tropical forest in Kakamega, take you to the crying stone of Hongomurui. I would take you to the beautiful cultural sites of bullfighting, the Nabongo Mausoleum in Kakamega. Madam CS, you're wasting time with those elephants and tigers and what have you. You have marketed them enough. Put your money in the Western Circuit and you'll grow the number of tourists coming in Kenya. You can see the leaders of Mombasa are so spoiled that you have given them direct flights and they don't know. They are still asking for them. One morning I have been in Mombasa, Madam CS, and I was very envious. I saw 5 Boeing, is it a 777, on the ground in Mombasa. Some of them were not KQ. So you have spoiled them, you've given them too much. They even don't know that they have it. Shift your focus,
Senator
come
Boni,
to Kisumu.
what is your
Thank you, Madam
question?
Speaker. I had to say these things, Madam Speaker. Thank you for allowing me.
Senator Boni, you have thrown the Honorable CS into a bush in Western because you've scattered around and we didn't hear the question. I don't know whether she got any question from you. What was the question, or was it a comment? It's question time. Can you microphone, Secretariat?
Thank you. Madam Speaker, you were consulting when I was raising the question.
No, I was listening.
Yes, I said, allow me to repeat. I said, and I will not take long. I said to shift policy from the white beaches and the Big Five
so
to come.
What is the question?
The question is this. I wanted her to commit opening of direct flights into Kisumu and committing funds to refurbishing the hotels which I have enumerated, I don't have to repeat.
What is your point of order, Honorable Miraj?
Chair, is it in order for Senator Boni Halwale to assume that I don't know that there are some international flights landing in Kenya, in Mombasa, in Moi International Airport? I stood here and asked whether the CS is following up on the conversation that I started on this floor, where only 2 airlines were allowed to land in Moi International Airport, because we have more international airports that are taking tourism to Zanzibar and to Dar es Salaam, making us as Kenya and coast region lose a lot of tourists.
Thank you,
Why is Boni Halwale?
Thank you, Senator Miraj. Thank you, Senator Miraj. Honorable Senator Boni Halwale, it would not be in order to assume that Senator Miraj does not know about the flights that land in her home county, and she uses the airport. So let's go to the next senator so that the Honorable CS can respond to this question. Senator Coril Chepkoech Joyce.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Allow me to congratulate the CS for the wonderful job that she's doing within the ministry. And on that matter, Honorable Speaker, allow me to really touch on the issue that she has given room to the Kenyans to mark the World Tourism Day by giving them free access to all national parks. So I just want to say congratulations, and we are looking up to seeing a lot of changes in that sector. Thank you.
Senator Mudhama Agnes Kavindu. Senator Agnes, I thought you had asked a question to the same CS. Had you asked a question?
Yes, I did.
Then resume your seat, Senator, so we give others a chance. You cannot ask a second one before they also go round, the first round. Please resume your seat. Senator Oburu Oginga.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also want to congratulate Madam for the good job she's doing, and ask 2 questions. Or you just want me to ask one?
To ask only one, please.
One, okay. Madam Speaker, I think Mombasa is already oversaturated with tourism investment. That's where we all go. We all want to go to Mombasa. I want to take my family to Mombasa. But there is too much tourism potential in the western part of Kenya. And I would like Madam to tell me, there are roads. There is a road, a ring road, which was to go around Lake Victoria. And there was supposed to be investment. It was designed, it was costed, it was, I don't know whether it was tendered. But that was meant to open up tourism potential in that area. And the other infrastructure is the golfing, which is also very attractive. We have in Nandi, Kisumu, Kericho, Kisii, and Kisumu. And I would like to know whether they are also taking interest in sporting, so that as part of tourism. Well, Madam Speaker, I'm sorry I asked 2, so it's okay. Madam Speaker, that's what I want you to change your direction of investment to the Western circuit. That's what Honorable Halwale was saying. Because Honorable Kech asked about the islands, about Lake Victoria, but he tells me that you did not quite stress anything about, say anything about Lake Victoria. But this is a very, very high potential area for tourism. And it is time that we started directing our investments towards the west, where there is great tourism potential, including wildlife, including the lake sporting, and Madam Speaker, there is a lot of potential in the islands, particularly Mageta, and those other islands, Takawiri, and all those, the Mfangano. There are a lot of tourism potential in those areas. So thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable CS, you can respond to that before we take another round of questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The comments by Honorable Kalwale are taken, and also by Honorable Koech and Miraj. We take all those comments. Honorable Speaker, the last question.
Senator Alwale, Honorable CS is responding to your question. Yes. Proceed, Honorable CS.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, that was a comment which we took note of, but to assure that the strategy we are implementing, the tourism strategy, is firmly anchored on Vision 2030. Honorable Speaker, the last question by Honorable Oburu was on diversification of tourism products and tourism destinations. That's why we are happy that this week, the World Tourism Week is being celebrated in the Western region and specifically Kisumu. We've had a lot of activities since Monday. We have seen visits to Ndere Islands, the Kajulu Hills, and the climax will be on Friday when we shall be launching the Western Circuit. And I want to assure the honorable member that we are really focusing on diversification of the products and tourism destinations that we have. We are cognizant that infrastructure is an enabler to tourism, working closely with the Ministry of Roads for the roads and the circuits that will provide access to the tourism places. And also, sports tourism is a niche market for Kenya, and we shall be working closely with the Ministry of Sports so that we can take full advantage of that sector of sports tourism. But we are doing a lot of work to ensure that Kenya has a sustainable tourism industry. And just like the manifesto of the Kenya Kwanza government says, that tourism is critical to the economy of this country, Kenya is still punching a little below its weight, and that goes a long way to describe the work that is ahead of us. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Chute Mohammed Said.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I will also want to take this opportunity to congratulate our CS. I know she is among the 5 best CSs in this country, if not the #1. Let me also take this opportunity to thank the Director General, KWS, who is here today. Honorable Speaker, the recent employment recruitment by KWS was the best recruitment ever. You are aware, these days, if you are recruited by KDF or police service, you pay something kidogo. But recruitment in Marsabit was done above board. Let me say thank you very much for that. Honorable Speaker, there is an issue in Marsabit about claims. There is an old man called Boru Fakansa who lost property. In this case, is with KWS. I want the CS to follow that case up, and if possible, these people should be paid. We have got millions of money that's supposed to be paid to Marsabit for people in Marsabit. It has not been paid. If you go to KWS, they will tell you this money is with the finance, treasury. If you ask treasury, they say it has not come to us. So I want the CS to tell us what is happening or what is not happening between the treasury and KWS. Thank you very much.
Senator Onyonka Richard Momoima.
Thank you. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. CS, I first of all want to say that I'm happy to see you. I'm also happy that I've listened to you carefully and I've listened you answer the questions intelligently and professionally. Keep it up. I wanted to say that the responsibility of you making sure that Kenya keeps maintaining the name of being a tourist destination is up to you. But I would like to persuade you, as you are in the cabinet, because tourism does not exist in outer space. It exists in an environment where the public or whoever that is coming to tour in your country, they want to come and find a country that is peaceful, a country that is offering basically services that are valuable, services that are quantifiable, and experiences that are magic. But with the number of corruption scandals and the noises we are having in our country, I don't think many tourists will want to come to this country. So I would like to ask you, Madam CS, that I hope that when you're in your cabinet meetings, you will talk to the president. Tell him we respect him. Tell him we want him to govern our country peacefully. Tell him that he must make sure there is no corruption in tourism.
Senator Onyonka,
Madam Chair.
what is the question?
The question is,
because you have started a different trajectory.
I was preparing my ground, but because you have guided me, I will
just
say,
ask the question direct.
Madam CS, do you intend to introduce any route, touristic route, coming out from other than the Mara, other than people going to, like I've had, the obvious touristic areas? Are you intending to create certain routes or certain events and certain marketing strategies to make sure that tourism goes up to Nandi County, tourism goes up to Kisii, we go to Trans Nzoia, and all the other areas where tourists normally don't go? And what is it that you would want your ministry to suggest that can be done around the lakeside area, particularly Kisumu, Homa Bay, and the Migori County governments? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Chararike Samson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine to the CS will be very simple. One is that Rift Valley counties like Anbot, Kericho, Kisumu, Nandi, Bomet, Kisii, Nyamira, we are the home of sports. What is the strategy of the ministry, through you, Madam Speaker, and to the CS, on enhancing sport tourism? Because we have legends of sports like Eliud Kipchoge, Faith the Maestro, of course, Faith Kipyegon, Amos Kipruto, among others, who, when people from across the world would want to visit, is there a way of enhancing sports tourism by establishing maybe sports tourism centers and areas, so that when tourists visit, they can also, because Kenya is known as a home of athletics and other sports, what is the strategy of ensuring? And in conclusion, Chair, tied up with that question, in sports tourism, this Western circuit, it is one question, Madam Speaker, this Western circuit,
I'm about to ask why you're asking two questions.
it is co-joined like CMS twins, Madam Speaker. It is co-joined like me. In this Western circuit, alongside my colleagues, we have huge potential tourism, apart from sports and even animals like Kingwal Swamp in Chesumei sub-county. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Kip Koril William Cheptumo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to join my colleagues in thanking the CS for articulating the issues before this House. Madam Speaker, there has been a serious problem in the country about the conflict between the wildlife and the Kenyan people, especially in the game reserves, in the national reserves, and so on. Madam Speaker, In Baringo County, we have a game reserve called Kapnorak. And I'm happy the director, KWS, has been there before. And this has caused a lot of conflict, Madam Speaker. When the former CS came here, I raised the same issue, and he was not able to give satisfactory answer. Madam CS, is there a way, not only in Baringo, but across the country, where you have MOUs between the residents of the area where the camp reserves are and the KWS institution, so that then there is some understanding? Because the residents in those areas, their livelihood is livestock, and sometimes they need some grazing, areas, especially at a time when there's no rain. So I wanted CS to really, and I'm happy the director is here. What arrangements do you have to ensure that you reduce the conflict between the people of Kapnorak area, where the Kapnorak Game Reserve is established, and the KWS, so that we minimize the loss of the people around there, because livestock is their only livelihood?
Honorable CS, you can respond to those questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and members. I commit to follow up the case of compensation for Marsabit and get the finer details. But I want to say that human-wildlife conflict and the compensation, since I joined the ministry, is a daily conversation that is being given the importance it deserves. My principal secretary, not a day ends without having a discussion on compensation, human-wildlife conflict, the competition for resources, what we need to do for communities. I want to assure, as we go on with the work that we have been given, we are giving that the highest priority. In regard to diversification of tourism destinations and the products that we have, we are launching the Western Circuit on Friday, but in total we have 9 identified circuits covering all the regions of Kenya, so that we can unveil and promote the products each area has, each county has, so that we have sustainable tourism, and we have many more products that tourists can enjoy. The question by honorable member from Nandi County. Yes, sports tourism is an important pillar in the strategy that we are implementing. Quite a lot of activities are lined up and others have taken place. For example, the athletes, the great athletes we have in Kenya will be the tourism ambassadors, sports tourism ambassadors. We know that plans for Iten Training Institute to also have foreign athletes going to Iten, and partnering with the Ministry of Sports, so that under the Magical Kenya, every sports event can have a tourism angle. But for now is to confirm that it is a strategic pillar in the strategy we are implementing. In regard to the question asked by the honorable member from Baringo, we have several MOUs that have been signed between KWS and county governments. And we have one between, that is between the county governments and KWS on behalf of the people of that county. And a lot of activity is being done between the counties and KWS, and I look forward to working with the leaders. We do know that this human-wildlife conflict is basically caused by competition for resources, and especially water, pastures. There is a lot of lack of water, adequate water to cover both human and wildlife. And we want to put a lot of focus on the provision of water so that humans can have enough water and animals can have water to reduce the competition. And Honorable Speaker, like I have affirmed, human-wildlife conflict is highest in our priority and even in our agenda. It is an item that we are reporting to the highest level, even at the cabinet meetings. And in days to come, we do hope that with the operationalization of county wildlife compensation committees, and with our resolve to look for diversified resource mobilization ways, we will be able to tackle the pending compensations and going forward reducing the conflicts so that we can have more coexistence rather than the conflicts. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Eric Okongo Mogeni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank the CS for the good work she has embarked on in enhancing the tourism sector in our country. Now, Madam Speaker, in this aspect of diversifying, when you travel to other countries, Madam Speaker, you land their city, you will find that the government has put in place arrangements where you get open buses that take tourists around some key tourist attraction areas. And these guys contribute to the income of the country because you pay. It's not for free. Madam Speaker, for us, the buses can take the tourists to Limuru. They look at our beautiful tea farms. They understand where the famed Kenya tea comes from. They can be taken around to see what is happening at National Park and many other areas. But I don't see this happening, and that requires government support. What steps, Madam Speaker, will the ministry put in place so that we can also tap into that market the way other countries have done? I know, Mr. Speaker, if you have traveled, you go to London, you get these buses. You go to Barcelona, you'll get these buses. Why can't you also do the same as a country? Number two, in making other counties, because now we have 47 governments across the country. Other regions, like where I come from in Kisii, as the government put in place marketing strategies so that when these tourists come to Kenya, they can be told the other areas where you will see things you not see anywhere in the world. The soapstone in Kisii is only found in Kisii. People export those, you know, the whatever, the art crafts that are made in Kisii to foreign countries, and they are sold at a kill. As the government put in place any marketing strategies so that when tourists come, they also know that they can visit other regions like Kisii, like Nyamira, so that we have income on tourism spread across the country, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Agnes, I'll give you a chance because I had called you earlier, but otherwise the questions being asked is just one to a respective CS in a session.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think I have too many issues in Machakos, and I would want to put in knowledge of Madam Speaker that even the CS who has left the ministry was aware of how my people in Machakos, especially Masinga County, suffers when they want to go to Masinga from Modesia Ndivini Kalakala ward. They have to pass through Muranga, they go through Thika, Kiambu, come back to Machakos County if they want to cross in a dignified way by road. And I've been requesting if a ferry can be put between Karakara and Ndivini, Isiukoni, Yambukoni, where they cross by just temporary boats, and that is where they are killed by hippos and crocodiles a lot, and they cross in a very undignified manner. And the outgoing for CS had promised that they will look for funds and put a ferry there. Because there's a big issue. Madam CS, what are you planning to do about that? Thank you.
Senator Adandulo Fatuma. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I just wanted to request the CS if I may say that I have about 3 game reserves in my county and 1 Meru Park that is neighboring my county. But Madam Speaker, if you look at maybe now devolution and before devolution, the standard of those reserves and parks have really gone down. More specifically, the reserves are under the county governments. They are the ones actually who are supposed to take care of those game reserves. But unfortunately, the standard has really gone down completely, because you will find in most of the counties don't have capacity, and sometimes they don't even employ those who are real professionals to man those reserves. My question is, CS, do you have a working mechanisms between yourselves and the counties? And number 2, I believe the standard should be left with the ministry so that they can be able to keep the standard and the government doesn't lose revenue that is generated from the tourists. I thank you. Honorable CS, please respond to those final round of questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll start with a question by Honorable Mugeni, basically about urban tourism and the buses, the tour buses, and other products that are available, especially in large cities. And this is really gaining global traction. As a ministry, we are working on some processes and some products. We are discussing with the ministry or department in charge of immigration to have transit visas so that travelers who have a long layover can have a transit visa and be able to sample some of the products. We are working closely and encouraging the private sector to participate, and especially in the transport sector. In those countries, most of these buses have a lot of input from the private sector, and this is the private partnership. And Nairobi has a lot to offer, and even in the counties, And we do hope that resources permitting and in partnership with the private sector, this can be a dream come true. We have also seen that tourists who go to cities have certain minimum expectations: good tours, good museums, good nightlife, and quite a lot that a city can offer. I want to assure you that that is in our radar. We need a lot of aggressive marketing in Kenya, even for the counties, and like you have mentioned, specifically the soapstone. I recently met an entrepreneur, a young man, who is doing quite a lot in that field, but on the investment side, when I was in the docket for investment. But it's then a linkage to make it a tourism product. That's why we are concentrating on diversifying, working with counties to have more products. There is a lot that Kenya has that is not known domestically and internationally. As we finalize the Tourism Week in our celebration on Friday, we are also launching a product for the young people to participate in photography and showcase some of those niche and gem products that are available in the counties. And we do hope to have a very good repository of that, as we even give an opportunity for our young people to have their talent and make it into a competition. In regard to the question by the honorable member from Machakos, the issue of the ferry had not come to my attention, but now
Senator
that
Kavindi,
it has come
responding to that
to
question
my
from Machakos.
attention, I will take it up together with the Ministry of Transport, get the finer details, and probably what can be done about that. The question by the honorable member from Isiolo, it is true that national parks are managed by Kenya Wildlife Service, while game reserves are under the ambit of county governments. We have seen a lot of challenges in management of the game reserves that counties face or are faced by counties: technical capacity, human resources, and other challenges. And we are having a working mechanism with the counties on national reserves, but specifically for Isiolo County, the ministry through the KWS has deployed a senior warden to support the management of Bisindai National Reserve, and KWS has a company, a station there in Isiolo complex to support the security and the activities and the issues that arise from the game reserve. Of course, a lot can be done in collaboration with the counties, and KWS will take up that issue so that we strengthen the collaboration between the counties and KWS to the benefit and security of the people, and also the management and conservation of the wildlife that exists in the game reserves. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable CS, for responding to those questions from the senators. I would guide that the question asked by Senator Agnes Mudhama is very specific. If you could put it down in paper together with Senator Chutu,